live. I am live. Right, I'll do this every week. Right, how do I find? Okay, cool. Right, so if I do that, because I'm going to have to. I'm going to do that right. The joys of technology. Okay. So, have a look, where she go? There's two of me. Okay.
Hey.
Hi, Corn. Am I echoing?
And then talk again.
I'm echoing.
Don't sound like it.
Okay, cool. We'll turn the sound off then. Oh, God. This is just so. I'm not loving this technology thing. Right. How are you?
I'm all right.
You okay? Good. Right, hang on, because you can see my messy bedroom in this one, so I'm going to try. I need on Zoom and that you can blur out the background. That's what I need. A blurred background. Yeah. Never mind. Remove. But yeah. So how are you?
I'm all right. It's been a very eventful week, but
Yeah.
you know, always positive comes out of it. So
Yeah, I hear that. And even me, again. Yeah. It's been eventful, but I don't know, Corn. I don't know. I just feel like I'm in this crossover of life. This is what post 40 looks like. We just question a lot of things, and it questioning our journey.
But you know what? As I said before, you have to get through to go through.
No, it is. It's so true. It is so
I think a lot of us
true.
to have great things happen, we have to go through things, unfortunately.
No, it is. It's true.
What's coming?
Yeah. I do agree. Do you want to elaborate a little bit more on that? Do you want to give some examples?
I've had what's the word? I've been reflecting a lot in the last, I'll say, a month or so.
Yeah.
It's about life manifesting, speaking to God, just literally just speaking out loud of what I want, what I need.
Yeah.
And sometimes they say if you don't say things what you want specifically, what you want, like to the T, things will come. You're thinking, oh my God. But that's a way of answering your questions in that way, unfortunately. So sometimes you just have to just take it on board, look at it what it is, and say, okay, then how am I going to fix this and how am I going to move on? And in my situation, it was one of those ones. It's like, you know what? Some things in life has to come to an end, and then you have to accept it for what it is and say, okay, then you know what? I'm going to change things for the better.
Yeah, definitely.
Doing certain things and you're getting the same results, but you don't want. It's because you're not doing the right things.
Yes.
So you've got to do the right things, or change things, to get the thing that you want, because obviously what you're doing initially, you weren't getting the results you want, so clearly something not right. So that's where I'm at. And again, I think as well, I think for me, it's like, my birthday was obviously, well, this month. And I'm like, it's a new age, a new chapter. I think I have to embrace it as much as possible. So, yeah.
It is, I do. I feel that. And I think, like, as you said, you've made some really major life decisions that have really allowed you the space to be more in control.
It's echoing now.
Or is it echoing?
Yeah.
Badly.
No, it went before, but now it just seems to be, I don't know if it's because more people are coming on, I'm not sure.
I don't.
What? Yeah, it's echoing.
Oh, Jesus. I don't know what to do. It's because I'm trying to show people on the Atlantic Rain page. Yeah.
Or what you could do for today, stay on the Atlantic Rain page and then just post, like, share everybody to She Power.
I don't know how, though. That's just it. I need to know how to link the two of them. I really do. But what we'll do, what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite Ruth on.
Okay.
See if that helps improve the echo. If not, I'm going to close one of them down. I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know. Let's just see. Innit? Let's just see. Cool. But yeah. So yeah, going back to you, some major life decisions which have allowed you to be more in control. And I think that's where I am at now as well. I'm just like, okay, I'm tired of feeling like my life is in the hands of other people that are dictating to me. Like, I want more control over what my future looks like, which is scary.
It is. Well, anything that is of greatness is always scary, isn't it? Because if it was not scary, everybody would be doing it.
Absolutely. It is. It's just scary because, again, like, I just think, we've been working from since the age of 16, 15, 16. It's a long time. And I just think in terms of working life, you've potentially got another 20 plus years. So what is that going to look like?
Exactly. That is it. You look at it like that, but
it's a lot. It's a lot to think about. I'm bringing this forward. Yeah, it's a lot to think about. But yeah, let's keep reflecting on it and see. But right, thank you everybody who has joined us today, Thursday, the 29th of June. 29th of June. We've just had the lovely summer solstice for those who celebrate the solstices and stuff. For me, it's all about a time of manifestation and, reflection. So I'm not surprised that we're here in this moment, like, reflecting on life and stuff. But yeah, it's been, but anyway, I'm not going to get too deep on that. But tonight, anyway, I've invited a lovely lady who goes by the name of Ruth, and I need to invite her in. I'm going to try and invite her in now. Ruth is a doula, and for those of you who do not know what a doula is, I will get Ruth to explain. See, now there's two of me up the top. Hi, Ruth.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, hi. I was just doing a little intro to who you were. Am I echoing at your end, Ruth? A lot.
Yeah. You are.
It's because I've got the Atlantic Rain, I've got the She Power, and I'm like, but yeah. I don't know what to do.
I think keep the Atlantic Rain and the She Power, just share it. Yeah. Okay, cool. Right,
I think you're gonna get rid of She Power. I think you should run on She Power.
I'm thinking, and I'm thinking, as I've just tried to close down the pages, it won't
Or is
It's
it?
telling me to leave the live altogether.
Or is it?
Yeah.
Personally, I don't think it's that much of a
We'll
problem
keep it
to me.
moving. Yeah, okay. Let's not be distracted by the echo. Let's not be
I'm not
distracted.
sure.
So, yes, thank you, everybody. I'll do my little introductions now. Sorry if you can see my bedroom. I've tried to tidy it up, but never mind. We move. But yes, so tonight, for tonight's Sheep House session, I've invited Ruth, who is a close friend and associate. I met Ruth, oh gosh, do you remember what year, Ruth? We did our doula training.
I think it might have been around there,
Yeah.
might have been because it was with Abuela doulas. I think it was about 2016,
Yeah,
17.
that's a long
I think
time. So
2017.
yes, Ruth is one of
Yeah.
my doula sisters, as people refer to themselves as being. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to let Ruth sort of like introduce herself, if that's okay, Ruth. So I'll start by introducing you to my lovely co-host, Cornita. Cornita, this is Ruth. I know it's the first time you guys have met. But yeah, so yeah, what we'll do, Ruth, it's literally going to be a nice little informal chat. Me and Cornita will sort of take it in turns to just, throw a few questions your way just to get your thoughts on things and more about you, sharing who you are, the work that you do, what you do to support people in the community. Is that all right? Cool, cool, cool.
Yeah, of
So,
course.
first
Okay, so
question, who
as
is Ruth? And what inspired you to create one-to-one doulas as well as one-to-one Yoni Steaming?
okay, so yeah, I'm Ruth Dennison. I did create one-to-one doula originally first before one-to-one Yoni Steam. From working, my background was working in maternity. I used to work within maternity as maternity support worker and also breastfeeding support as well. I sort of got fed up with how fast things were flowing in the hospital. I didn't really see myself wanting to step up any further in the hospital as a midwife because I saw how stressed out they were, and also as a Black woman, how it's easy for you to, be kept at a lower position. If you do go higher, you're easily replaced by someone else that doesn't look like you and maybe even less qualified and less experienced than you. So with all that and knowing how I feel and how it doesn't sit well with me, I thought I needed to do more. Not only did I need to do more for myself, I wanted to do more for women because I didn't like how it was just quite like a conveyor belt, how they come in and out and in and out with such a tender and emotional time of their life. And, it's kind of a thing where you do find women coming in having a lot more emotional needs, and it's very difficult offering that within the NHS because it's very fast flowing. It is more like, just tick the boxes, get the job done and keep it moving. So their needs emotionally sort of gets neglected and they don't get the right support that they need or that I feel that I would want to give. I'm also restricted, so I'm not able to be my authentic self. So I then looked on other things around maternity and around breastfeeding of what I wanted to do. Originally, I started up as one-to-one breastfeeding support and started my own little breastfeeding organization. And then I was like, I still need to do more than just breastfeeding. And then I stumbled on doulas, and it just sounded like everything that I was trying to be, but what I couldn't do, I was restricted within the NHS of being that person. So I went and I trained. Firstly, I did train with Nurturing Birth, and I done my doula training with them. I had Mars Lord as my mentor as well. So I then went on to be a recognised doula through Nurturing Birth and Doula UK. And then after that, because as Mars was my doula mentor already, and she started her courses, that's when I then went on to her course as well. And because it was more traditional, more cultural in regards to relating to how things were done more traditionally within birth and looking at different cultures and their background, which I felt resonated as well. It's the reason why I then thought that would be a good choice to do that as well. So I
You're
did do
doubly
2 doula
qualified.
courses actually. And so then it just one-to-one doula, one-to-one and breastfeeding became one-to-one doula and breastfeeding support, which I've done a lot of work around breastfeeding and doula work and support. And then what came into how I then stumbled into the Yoni Steam side of things was on one of the courses, workshops that we done, just like generally when you start as a doula, there's so many different courses that's kind of thrown at you. All of a sudden it's like all these courses for you to, you know, think of, but to do. So I did stuff that resonated with me. So it was a mother warming course, which was all about to learn about traditional healing remedies to help women after birth. And one of the things that stood out to me was Yoni Steaming. And yeah, so then that's where I thought, you know what, I'm going to go and look more into this. I'm going to even try it because of I heard about all the benefits, and I was like, you don't even have to be pregnant or just had a baby. It's just something, you know? So let me give it a try. Gave it a try. As they say, you know, stoop over a bowl and everything. I was like, love it. Yeah, seriously. Stooping over the bowl and like squatting. We don't do that anymore. We're using the chairs and sitting upright and not being in that squatting position as we should really be. And so it just made me expanding my trade or my business and getting your team out there, because I noticed how beneficial it was for me. And I thought I had no problems with my periods or anything. I was like, I ain't got wrong. Like my periods are fine. You just expect to have some pain and all of this stuff. And cramping, you know, all of that you just feel is normal. But after this steam, and to realize, like when I was ovulating, I didn't even feel when I was ovulating like I wouldn't. You know, those cramping pains that you know, to know, all right, I'm ovulating. Like I didn't get that. So I was like, okay, this is then my period came, but I didn't know it was coming because it came so light and I didn't have any pain or discomfort, which was normal before. And I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have all the, you know, how you start getting hormonal and emotional around your period. All that sort of went. So when my period did come, I was like, I noticed from the first theme the huge difference. I was like, wow, this is amazing. And I've had so many women that complain about their periods alone and all the other benefits, helping with fertility, helping with healing after birth. I'm like, no, everyone needs to know about this. So because of how I started to incorporate it in my life, managed to start making the steam seat and stuff, because I was like, I'm not doing the squat. It's really, I can't sit there for that long squatting. Like I weren't that fit yet. Again. and
Walking
so
those
I was
knees.
like, no, I've got to get back on the stool. So then I just sort of expanded in it, and I still do it. I do quite a bit. So what other questions do you have?
That's
Before
fine.
I
That's a good.
blabber on,
That
I
is a
was
good
like,
intro. I suppose one of my first questions is, could you explain what a doula is, because not everybody has heard of the term doula.
okay, so a doula is someone who provides emotional, educational, and physical support for women. So this support is normally done throughout their pregnancy, throughout their labouring time and childbirth, as well as postnatally. So you have birth doulas and you have postnatal doulas. Some do both and some do one or the other. So I did both, and so we don't do anything medical or clinical. We don't do any diagnosis. We don't do internal examinations or anything like that. But we just morely like really support and hold space for our clients, educate them about anything which may be to do with their pregnancy, about even sometimes with their relationships, how they view birth, letting them, you know, learn more about what their bodies are capable of. And also just really listening to what they want, what experience they want, educating them about the things that they want. You know, there are pros and cons. Some, you know, you have some clients that just be like, I really want a natural, holistic birth. I want a home birth. And you have some women that will be like, I want a birth, I want a cesarean. And it's for us to be able to support them. It's not for us to direct them and tell them, I think you should do this. It's about educating them on their choices, so then they can then go on to make an informed choice and have the birth experience that they wanted to. Sometimes being more educated may mean that they might change their decisions of how they want to birth their baby because they didn't have that education before. Also, sometimes it might mean that they actually going into their birth space more confident, going through their pregnancy more confident. And you know, our support, how it is provided, we provide support from the date of booking. So sometimes some moms may book us from the beginning of their pregnancy as soon as they find out, which I think is the most beneficial. But you tend to find majority of the mothers booking more later on in the pregnancy when they start to realize this is really happening. I want to know what's going on here, or I'm not liking how the care has been, or I'm starting to become more fearful, or you know, lots of different reasons why. But we tend to have most women that would then, well, I do, come towards the later side of their pregnancy and be looking for a doula then. But the price, I'll say, is best for you to know straight away as soon as you know that you really want to do that, book them, because the price doesn't change. It's not like, you know, the later you book, it doesn't mean it's going to be any exactly. And I think having that guidance from the beginning of your pregnancy is the best thing ever. We don't only, you know, provide the support for the mother and exclude the partner. We also have them involved, and we be, you know, as a team to advocate and support the mother that is, you know, going to be bearing the child. So yeah, that's what we do. We tend to go on call 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after the expected due date, where anytime, day or night, if they go into labor, we will then go to be with our client and hold space and support our client throughout the laboring process. If it's that we tend to try and meet them at home. If they're at home having a home birth, then we stay there. But if they're having a hospital birth, we still try to meet with them at home and then go with them into the hospital. And basically, we don't leave their side until after the baby is born and mum is settled and has fed her baby and is feeling confident of continuing and having that support remotely afterwards if need be. We then also do a postnatal follow-up. So we normally would debrief her birth experience, even though, you know, we do go over things like birth preferences and what the mother wants for her birth experience. Not all the time it may go according to plan. So we don't always say birth plan, we try to use the word birth preferences because it's something you prefer, but it may change. And it's just really debriefing that, because sometimes, if depending if they've had a baby or if they had something to you know, to compare it to, or sometimes the care that they may have experienced while they was there, just different things. It's really debriefing. And some people might think, oh, I've had the baby, I don't need that anymore. And then I've had someone said that to me, and I was like, you know, it's important that you may, you know, you may find it useful. And when she did it, she was just like, thank you so much. There were so many things that I didn't really speak about, or I didn't really how I felt until I've had this conversation with you after birth, and it just really sort of opened her up and her partner up to sort of, like, you know, feel more confident and, you know, understanding about their experience.
Well, guys, if you didn't know what a doula was before, you know now.
Exactly. And then you do have like, for the postnatal doulas, we tend to go to the mother's homes and support the mother postnatally. So it would normally happen quite immediately after birth. When she goes home, we will then support her to be able to feel confident with her baby. So it may be doing things like, you know, supporting her with breastfeeding, you know, helping her to rest while baby's, you know, being looked after by myself. Also stuff like cooking for her, doing different remedies and helping her with her healing process, and just really supporting the family. Sometimes it is stuff like doing housework, just being the mother as well. So we just kind of mother the mother. And this is traditionally happens in my family, happens in cultures where the parents or the parents-in-laws will come round and nurture and look after and let the mother be, let her heal, and really cook, look after them, and help them to get on their way to
That's
be
what I love,
confident
and
parents.
that's what I loved about the doula training that I did with Mars, because I just felt that it did bring back the traditions that I would say have been lost to a certain degree, especially with us being in the West. There's a lot of traditions that are lost, and I find that motherhood here in the not in all cultures, as you said, like there are cultures that are still holding on to these practices, but it can be a very isolating experience where you literally just have baby go home and it's just you and your child, or you see moms, not judging here, but your moms are straight out on the road after having to do shopping, take care of children, do the school run and stuff. So it can be a very difficult time emotionally, especially if you haven't, as you said, spiritually recovered from that whole process. So that's why I would say, like, the doula role is very, very important, because not everybody has extended family members that are, or even close friendship circles that are able to support them in that way. So yeah. Have you got any questions?
Exactly.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Ruth, go on.
No, like obviously I know
So
that you do as well, Nikki. But obviously, I know hearing what you're saying now, it makes it clear. I was thinking, oh, what if I ever, did get pregnant? That's not going to happen. But if I did, would I want to do that? But now you explained it, especially that after having a baby is very important.
Yeah, I would say,
because especially for ladies who have C-sections or whatever, they're getting up still doing things, and obviously that's at risk. But it's nice having someone like yourself who's been on that journey with them, and you're there for how long, 2-3 weeks after, and they feel comfortable with you, that they feel trust that they can leave your baby with you, and you're not a family member. That makes sense, or you know what I mean. So it's nice that there is that element of it, because obviously when I was having my daughter, didn't know anything about it. So and that was 12 years ago. So yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, it's a very, like, I guess every doula is different, but I find that a very nurturing thing to do, which resonates with me because I've always been trying to look after children and babies, and from when I was a baby. So it really feels good to be able to be in that position to do that. And also it's just really like, when you have these moms, and you like, no matter how strong you think they were or they thought they were at the time of, even pregnancy, through labor, after birth, they become so vulnerable. And for you to be able to be there is a powerful moment. And like with all my clients, I don't ever forget them, and I doubt they definitely don't forget me. Like, I do have some that be like, look, they're 5 years old, still sending me pictures, because it made a huge difference. And sometimes, there has been times like where you've I've supported a client, and then, say for instance, even with COVID, has made it that some clients felt that they couldn't have a doula there, and they've had a completely different experience, and they've come back to me and been like, okay, I'm having another baby now, I need you because last time we couldn't get you X, Y, and Z, and the experience went this way. And and having a doula that looks like me as well, black doula, is quite rare over here in the UK. You don't see many of us, and it's needed. We need more of us, because the different type of support that you get from a doula, and it's tailored to you and your needs. There's also the high, infant mortality and maternal mortality rate, especially within the Black community, which is the highest. And having a doula can make a huge change to that, because of, in regards to the medication that's used, in regards to certain different things that are done to women throughout their pregnancy, or even just in regards to them not being listened to and being able to make their own choices. These sometimes can impact the health care that they're given, and impact their birth experience, as well as them postnatally. So you do find that you know, some women, they are high risk of having postnatal depression, or may have had postnatal depression previously, but then as having a doula the next time round, they didn't have postnatal depression again. So there's so much benefits from having a doula, but it's just very quiet over here in the UK, and not many people know about it. So it's and we actually need to know about it more to be able to have a choice. It's not saying that everyone would have one, but it's about having the choices and knowing the support that you can have.
Absolutely. No, and it's so true. It's so true. Definitely needed. And it's not, you know, not everybody has the money, because I know there's always, you know, the financial side of things that people worry about. But, you know, you can definitely have family members that you support. However, I would definitely say, you know, we have the pleasure of the NHS, if you want to call it that. But I also think that where you can invest in your health, invest, like, it will be the best money that you will spend. And I think that also adds to the positive experience that people, just a positive experience. You know, when you invest in yourself, you feel good about that investment, and having a doula, you know, that in terms of the world of birth, that could potentially be the best investment that you make. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's so, as you said that, and you went onto the money side. Sometimes it does, you know, because my fees, my fees are my fees, as I'm concerned, and I feel that, you know, you do have doulas, lots of different doulas, and some will have a fee that would suit different budgets. Sometimes is okay, do they have that experience, do they understand me? And that's why you do have those doula interviews where you get to meet other doulas to just sort of see which doula fits with you. And sometimes there is ways, you know, no doula wants to be like, oh well, you can't afford me, you can't have me, because most of us do sort of well, I hope so, that we go into this work with our heart, you know, and it doesn't mean that, okay, yeah, we've got to also think about our heart and ourselves and
No,
our
true. It's so
children and
true.
stuff like that as well. So
No,
you can't take from your plate to
mm,
serve someone else and start off, you know, because how can you
absolutely.
then continue to support? So, but there is ways around it. There are different types of support. There's also birth companions out there that are free. Some with some of them, depending on, you know, what support you may already or have not got. So some people that don't have anyone or not a birth partner. Or also some people that are maybe like refugees, or they are really low income. And also, you know, what I do, I also have like a payment plan that they can take their time and pay off for the support, to make it flexible for them. But what we got to remember is that I believe most of the time, not everyone, but
Absolutely.
people will find the
Absolutely.
money
We
for
say
what
that
they
all the
want to
time.
spend the money on. Like, because when I see a girl rolling with a £1,000 pushchair, I'm thinking, where you going with that? But how long is that pushchair going to last you? For £1,000? And did you have a doula? No. And then most people would have, you know, frowned at a doula, but they're not frowning about style. But as you said, your health is more important. Style comes and goes and changes, and it's just, you know, material things, you know. But when it comes to your health and your mental, because as a birth doula, or as any type, you know, birth postnatal doula, not only do we support you physically, we also support you mentally as well as educationally. So when you leave from here, you're like, when we finish, you are more empowered and educated about your birth process, and you won't even realize how much your education that you've received, that you then can help to educate your children and your
And I would
friends, you
also
know,
add,
and
Ruth, as
pass that
well,
on.
that I do
So
think
it
you
is.
do the support spiritually as well, because birth is a very spiritual process. Do you know what I
Yes,
mean? And I think if it's not
it
done in
is.
the right way, as you know, in doula terms, we used to talk about things like opening and closing women, like that can lead to so many issues in the future if it's not done, or if women aren't supported in the right way. So, you know, I'll just add the spiritual side to that as well.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And I agree. It is a whole, you know, it's a whole transformation, you know,
Yeah.
transforming journey, having a child. and it changes you. And even with each child, it changes you again and again. So it's almost like a rebirth of yourself. And it's when you're, you know, just like in general, we try to create a nice space, because your space can make a difference of how you are feeling and what's going on with you and your body. And it's about having that good energy within that space. So you want to birth your baby with the best energy that you can. So you need to be in a better place physically and mentally. And that's what we help to support to do. So, you know, it's about educating you about, you know, even about around the foods you eat, around different, you know, natural, well, this is this is the way I work, but different remedies that you can help you to get through your, you know, your actual pregnancy, you know, in the best health and the best shape as possible, and to also go through that experience as smoothly as possible.
Right then, so thank you for that, Ruth. Thank you for that. It's a really good overview of the support that doulas do. And I know like we weren't going to go deep into the doula type of work, but I do think it was an important subject to cover as well, because I don't think there are many people that know about what it is that a doula does. And I think you've just given a really good you've give a good in-depth summary as to like what the doula role entails, if you want to call it that. But go Corn, your next question.
What are the challenges that you have experienced in this field of work?
Even though you probably, I don't know if you feel like you could
the challenges. Well, in my field of work, so I feel that I think one of the I don't know. So one of my challenges is, so say for instance, working within the field, it can be quite lonely. I feel that it can be quite lonely. Unfortunately, there's not been a great amount of trust in people that you can work with. So then you end up kind of working mostly on your own, which sometimes it is quite lonely. Normally when you go to work, you got your colleagues and stuff like that. And I do a lot of stuff behind the scene at, you know, at home on my own. And I do have a few people that I really, you know, really can trust, but it's a very small amount of people. And it's just, a lot of it is working. You are working on your own, and it can sometimes feel a bit isolating. I feel that that's the only thing. And sometimes, you know, even with your partner or your sisters and stuff, when you're always talking about birth and breastfeeding, it's a bit boring. Oh, wow. So they'll be like, were you talking about, just randomly talking about breastfeeding? Like, what has that got to do with it? And so it's like, sometimes I need to know when to stop talking about.
It's your passion, though, isn't it? It's your passion.
It is
It is.
It is my passion, and I think I would always do that. I felt that, like, as I said before, is something that I've always sort of that nurturing side of me has always been there as a child. Like I was even as a when I was 12, I was able to recognize my sister was pregnant, and when she told my mom, I was able to say yes, she is, and she was, when she was in labor, and she was, my mom, like, you're not in labor, we don't have babies early. And I was like, yes, she is, I'm phoning the ambulance. And she was. And then I was there rubbing her back, and I was only one. And you know, I've always had that side to me. I've always loved to nurture, like playing, you know, doctors, whatever, with my younger sister, always trying to be her mom. And so I've always had that nurturing side to me. And, you know, and I've always loved, you know, the whole motherly baby and all of that. And so that's really been something that I can say, I am passionate about. But it's just, as I said, it is sometimes it just can be a little bit isolating when you're just doing the work on your own, and you don't really have no one to back and forth and say, what do you think about this, because of, would you know, so it's just about really trusting and believing on my content and putting it out there and not caring anymore, like I used to do. I'd be like, what do you think? No, I don't do that anymore. I'm just like, whoever likes it, likes it. Whoever don't, because this is authentically me anyway, and I'm not one. Sometimes someone's twist to it will take away your authentic self within that person. So I just keep it moving, really. The there are challenges sometimes as well. I had a challenge when I was in the hospital, actually, and there was a midwife that was insisting she wanted to do an internal vaginal examination on my client, and I know my client originally said that she didn't want to, so I was sort of like advocating for her, saying this is something that she doesn't want. I spoke to my client and told her, you know, what the midwife's wishes were, and she was like, no, she don't want that. And you know, so I did explain that to her. She's like, well, you know, we can't keep her hair unless she lets me perform a vaginal examination. So I was like, what nonsense. When then did this rule come up? Yeah. So it's not a thing where you can't be admitted unless you have a vaginal examination, because she says she wants to see how far she is. It's not my fault that she hasn't been, you know, believing and trusting and believing in her instinct to know how far this lady is. And that's another thing, is that as a doula, I can look at a mother and know roughly how far she is through her, you know, through her process, and how far she may be dilated, how close she may be possibly having her baby, you know. And these are the instincts that sometimes when you do have a tick box, you sort of miss out on. You don't start to listen to stuff. You just want to tick the boxes. So that was a bit challenging, and we was gonna speak to the senior, and then the partner just turned around and had to tell her about herself outside, and was like, you know, she was like, oh, your doula has to go. She was like, we are not moving our doula nowhere. You can get someone else. She's like her mum right now, so she's staying here. And you know, after I did speak to my client says she don't mind, you know, but she doesn't want to do it while she's in a contraction, because the midwife was like, you know, lay down now. And she wasn't really sort of trying to listen and speak to her when she was more calmer. It was like while she was contracting. So it's just sort of like coming in and trying to, you know, keep the space calm at the same time, because that's the worst thing you want, is to have any disagreement within the birth space. But I felt that I felt that sometimes, and what I feel and what I know is that some midwives may feel that they shouldn't listen, or they shouldn't support or listen anything to do with the doula, because they feel that this is their birth and they're treating this woman, and this is that's all that. But so I think there is a lack of education in regards to what doulas do for midwives, because if we're meant to be supporting one another, to go against each other, that's not right for the mother.
Absolutely. Is there anything that resonates with you, Corn? Because you've got your own business, you do a lot of work on your own as well, and well,
I do pregnant massages, so sometimes when the clients come to have massages who are obviously pregnant, I ask them if they want me, because even though it's a pregnant massage, that they don't always want you to touch their stomach, because they say, I'd rather you don't. But sometimes they're very anxious, and if I knew more, like what you're just saying more now about the doula, I could have maybe said to them at early stage, have you thought about having a doula? Especially first time moms. I've got a client at the moment, she's 39, and she's very, very anxious of having a baby due November. And it's just something that, you know, it'd be nice, something like this. I think it's nice because you can resonate with her. Then, you know, you got your friends and you got your family, but I think someone who's an outsider but also know what's happening, I think it's nice for them to have. So moving forward, as we do pregnant massages, I definitely will mention that, especially when I see a lot of people who've got their first time having their baby and they feel a bit anxious about it. But I do like the after bit, what you do, if I be honest. I'm really intrigued, because when I had my daughter, I had postnatal depression, and you had family and friends around, but I didn't feel that no one understood what I was going through. I just felt isolated, and obviously I was a 31, a later mom, if you want to say. So I was just like, is this normal? Am I going crazy? You know, all sorts of things going on. Am I going to be a good mom? And all these things you ask yourself. And I think when you are having postnatal depression and you have like a young child, a young baby, I think you do lose a bit of connection in the beginning with the child, because of that, how you feel. So having someone like yourself, I think it is a good thing to have.
Definitely. I do agree. I really do agree. But
It's
no,
important.
definitely.
I just feel it's important if they have a choice. I think that's the best way to know what you're capable of having. So you have a choice to know that, all right, this is what I need. Or, you know, sometimes you do go through the process without, and then you might be like, actually, I think I need this now. But when you don't have a choice, and then to realize that, what do you do later on? You sort of kick yourself and be like, why didn't I know? Yeah, why didn't I know? I would have needed that. And
I'm sorry to
villages have
interrupt,
gone.
Ruth. It's because this thought just popped into my head as well. Even again, just thinking, as you said, from sort of like a cultural perspective, I don't think we realise, again, I'm always going to be speaking about the spiritual, so guys, just, this is me. I don't think people realise sort of like the traumatic imprints that can be transferred from one generation to the next. And there's a lot of work done around this at the moment, and it's, you know, it's something that I'm always interested in, and I always sort of like read and listen to podcasts around. But thinking about the experience of birth, based on some of the things that our ancestors have gone through, going into the world of birth, going into hospitals, giving birth to babies, the way we're interacted, or should I say, the way health professionals interact with us, especially those that don't look like us as well, and even some of those that look like us, it can trigger some very, very traumatic experiences for us, and we may not even know where these, because we could be first time moms, but we may not know where these experiences have come from. And again, going back to sort of like the doula role, that's why again I would definitely sort of like shout the importance of the role from the rooftops, because you definitely need someone to just hold that space for you, especially because I'm just thinking about my most recent pregnancy that I had, which was obviously 3 years ago. And there was just so many things that was going on in the moment, experiences that I never had in my previous pregnancies, and just things like what was it called? What did they call it? White coat syndrome. You know what I mean? So literally, I was on the heart monitor. They was checking my heart rate. I was there all day because my heart rate was just irregular. But what they found was that whenever someone would enter the room in a white coat, my heart rate would just go up. I'd just start panicking. If it was just someone normal looking, you know, that just probably even someone that looked like me, you know, I'd be absolutely fine. But literally, as soon as someone entered the room, it was that sort of like fight or flight mode that was going on inside me, and the anxiety just went up. I started to become fearful, and I didn't even know that this was going on. It was only something that was picked up on the on my heart reading, and it was one of the doctors who said, you know, you've got yeah, I'm sure they call it white coat syndrome. Yeah, you've got that. Like, so again, when a medical professional enters the room, you then start stressing, you worry, you think, what are they going to do to you? And I don't think many of us are sort of like tuned into that part of our nature, that there are things that bother us, but we just you know, we just think that this is part of the process, but it can be very, very scary and very, very traumatic at the same time. So yeah, just wanted to add that as well. Mm.
Yeah, it's the truth. I hear what you're saying. 100%. 100%. You do find that, and that's another thing. Is just knowing and letting the clients know that actually you can say that you want someone to leave your room. No one has to be there. And anyone that told you that you don't have a choice, they can actually be removed. And it's to know that how you go about doing that, instead of just sort of sitting there and feeling that all these people can come into your birth space and tell you what to do and tell you how you should push. And like, it's your body, it's your baby, and it's for you to birth your baby how you want to. And you know, everyone's just meant to help you, not basically control you and make you
Definitely, and to ask for alternatives. You know, just because one way of doing something is presented to you, you know, there should be other alternatives that could potentially be explored. So again, it's just having you know, having the knowledge to ask those questions, or even the courage sometimes to ask those questions. You know, what other alternatives, what other options are there available to me other than this? But yeah, okay then. So I'm going to get into Yoni steaming, because that was supposed to be another key part of our discussion today. So Ruth, you sell, I'm going to use the word, you sell a course online around Yoni steaming. I suppose my question is, where did your passion for Yoni Steaming come from?
Okay, so when I first learned about Yoni Steaming, as I mentioned before, I learned it on a workshop, like a training that I did for helping women heal after birth. But it was about learning about grandma remedies in regards to helping women heal after birth. I tend to be into herbs anyhow, and to learn about how these herbs can actually help you with fertility, with healing after birth, with your periods, with all of these ailments you have, you know, as a woman with your reproductive system. I was like, okay, this seems something like I'm really interested in. I want to give it a go myself. I then gave it a go, and I sort of fell in love with it when I noticed the difference it made. When I didn't think I had any issues, I felt like after noticing how I didn't have any pains for my periods at all, and no moodiness, no change in my hormones, you know, and stuff like that, I was just like, wow, this is amazing. I feel everyone should know about this. So I was continuing to do it. I then had my partner and his dad help me to make a seat, which I now sell as well. So we do them their handmade seats for Yoni Steaming. And with learning more about the herbs, I just got more and more into it. So my background, my dad's from Jamaica, he's a Rasta, and they tend to be very holistic herbalist anyhow. So I was brought up knowing about herbs, but it was just normal. So then as I got into my doulaing world, and then I learned about Yoni Steaming, that's where I got a lot more deeper into the herbal side, just looking at things more holistically. And also my partner's like really into herbs as well. So it just really, like, it's something that I felt that this is something that can help me, can help my sister, my friend, my clients. It can help all the women around me, and my daughter that is going to be growing and going to be definitely being able to benefit from this. This is something I need to continue, but I can't continue alone. I can't be the one person in, however, you know, this large region to be covering Yoni Steaming, because that would be too much for me alone. So that's why I was like, you know, I want more people to learn about it, but how do I get more people to learn about it? I can't do it alone. So the more people that can train to become Yoni Steam practitioners, then that's how you can reach more people to learn about this, until it eventually becomes a norm that, you know, you go to the doctors and they'll be like, oh, you know, have you actually heard about Yoni Steam? And they can have a conversation as well to say, you know, you have these different options, you know, you can check that out. And, you know, so that's really what driven me into it. I had the experience of it. I benefited from it, and I still do it. So it's something I enjoy. And not only is it that it helps with my reproductive system, it also helps with you spiritually and mentally. So it is a real good self-care practice. So if I'm feeling low or I'm feeling stressed and I do my Yoni steam, I just feel that it's all been removed and I'm refreshed, and I can start again afresh and align myself. So yeah, so I just feel that it's something, it's a good self-care remedy that I just believe every
Thank
woman
you.
should have access to.
Someone, not even someone, Grief 269. She's asking. So what she said, I know someone that used to sell it, but they don't do it anymore. When she, well, yeah, they didn't sell it when she wanted to buy. Where can she purchase? So could you put? Have you got it on? Do you do it through your website or Etsy?
Oh,
Okay, so if you
I've
put
got it on
your
my
website in the
website.
comments, that'll be
So
good.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah, perfect.
there you go. So you can find
Thank you, thank
it
you.
on my website.
So yeah,
So yeah, I just
and again, like obviously, I was one of the people in Birmingham that was really pushing Yoni Steaming a few years ago. I've not pushed it as much recently, but people still come and ask me questions about Yoni Steaming, purchase Yoni herbs and stuff. And again, I would echo exactly what you're saying in regards to sort of like the holistic self-care, you know, closer to Mother Nature, the spiritual, working on those who are doing like chakra work, working on your root and your sacral chakra, where we hold a lot of our heavy emotions. Yeah, honestly, like I had some of the most amazing experiences with women who were Yoni steaming, like the most amazing experiences. Cornita and I, we had our business, and it was a service that I promoted until I had the lovely baby. Then things changed and COVID. Then things changed, but yeah, again, women who are in this discussion now, definitely explore the world of Yoni steaming, because yeah, it will definitely serve us. I mean, like my first experience of what I would refer to as Yoni steaming was literally how we used to bathe ourselves back in the day. And I remember as a child, and I tell this story over and over again, I remember as a child, my mum, she would put water in the bucket, and she didn't add any herbs or anything, but she would tell us to sit over the bucket, allow the heat to rise, then we'd bathe and whatever. And, like these again, because we become more and more immersed into Western culture and society, we lose some of these practices. And it's about sort of like revisiting some of that and regaining some of that again. But yeah.
Yeah. I remember there was a time when
Mm,
so I think I was still in college, and my friend had a baby, and she was telling me
mm,
about her mum. So she's from Ghana, and her
mm,
mum wrapped her tummy with the material and had her sit over a pot of herbs with
mm,
with all herbs and salts and stuff like that. And she was telling me about it. And this is way before I even start.
yeah.
I wasn't even in maternity then, but I was still interested. And I was thinking, oh, how come?
Mm,
Okay, is that what your mum done? And I was like, oh, I didn't.
yeah.
Well, I haven't heard of it yet. And to just sort of like
Mm,
then hear about it later on and to learn about it later on, it's sort of like connected. I was like, okay, so it just also
yeah.
made me look back traditionally, and it is something that is
Yeah.
done around in the world, in many parts of the world, and even down to
Mm,
in Jamaica is done as well,
mm,
and they call it bush steam as well. So it's like this is something that
yes.
has been done throughout time, and we
Mm,
then have how it is anyway. They're fading away.
mm-hmm.
They can take away all the medical, the actual medical properties and herbs and
Yeah.
the herbs remedies that people are using
Mm,
to heal themselves. They
yeah.
would, because if they can't monetize it, but in regards to women
Mm,
are trying so many different things
mhm.
and taking so many different tablets. Like I had a client that had been taking, since she's been
Mhm.
started her periods
Yeah.
all her life. She's now like 40 something, so all her
Mhm.
she was taking paracetamols for
Mm,
throughout the whole time, and
mm,
Nurofen throughout the whole time of her period, wearing about
yeah.
two, changing her tampons nearly hourly, or wearing
Mhm.
two tampons,
Mhm.
two pads at a time, all of this. And then when she started steaming, she said she had to just take a tablet because she was
Yeah.
thinking, I must start feeling some pain soon. And
Yes,
she
that's what
just
she's been used
because
to,
of
isn't it? Yeah.
mentally, she knows
Yeah.
how extreme the pain gets. She only take that one tablet throughout her whole period and nothing else. And she was so shocked of how much from her
Mm,
first theme, how it made a huge difference for her. So, just really seeing how this can make a huge difference with women, and
mhm.
in regards to fertility, in regards to all these problems, fibroids, which
Mhm.
is really higher as well in the Black community, and all of these different things,
Mhm.
within our reproductive system, that is
Yeah.
sometimes making some women feel that they're less of a woman. Sometimes, it's about really just sort of like bringing back the love to their body, because you know what?
Mhm.
We don't do nothing with our womb, do we? What do we do?
Mhm.
It's such a huge part of us. Such a huge part of our being in regards to our thoughts and what we do, and
Yes.
we just sort of neglect it, and we sort of like
Mhm.
it out when it's period time, like this period wise
Yes.
air,
Yeah.
like we don't want
Yes.
it, all of this stuff, and not
Mhm.
actually pouring the love into it. So it's about also not only just learning to love your womb,
Absolutely.
but learning to love yourself. And this is how
Mhm.
I do my
Mhm.
treatments. It's not just about go and sit on a herb and that's you. It's
Yeah.
about also connecting with
Mhm.
yourself as well. So, you know, it is, as you said, it is a
Yeah.
very spiritual thing as well. I also find that I do have quite a few people that come for Yoni steams that have been abused as well. And it's a thing where they have read up and learned about how it can help to sort of with their healing process, help with pouring that love back in, and also help to sort of remove that,
Yeah,
you
the
know,
soul
what they would say, that
ties.
tie
Mm.
from them.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, the soul ties from what has happened to them. And it's, you know, I did have times when I was doing group sessions, and when
Mm.
you start to bring women
Yeah.
together, you start to realize how
Mm-hmm.
much trauma they are actually holding, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
also they're holding it in their womb, which is
Yeah.
contributing to some of their problems,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that they may be having. So there's so much different sides and different ways to look at Yoni steaming. Some people just
Mm-hmm.
do it just to, you know, just to have fun, and oh, I would like to have a steam, and you
Yeah.
know, or to do it for sex,
Yeah.
because it does make it
Mm-hmm.
more pleasurable, I must say. I love
Mm-hmm.
that one too. It does make it more pleasurable as
Mm-hmm.
well, not only for the woman but for the man as well. And
So
so
many
yeah,
different
there's
benefits
lots
in
of
it.
different benefits that,
Mm-hmm.
and it's natural. So the thing is that you're not putting nothing that you're gonna have
Yeah.
any, you know, side effects from. Like, you know, you do have someone, who was that person that put online saying about how it's
Yeah.
dangerous, you can burn
Mm-hmm.
yourself, and
Yeah.
that's only, like, I was gonna say, only
Yes.
someone that's not really being
Yes.
very clever can
Mm-hmm.
burn them with Yoni.
Mm.
And
And
you got
it's one of
to
them ones,
go
isn't
and
it? Because
do
you would,
it, and it's
I
not
remember
just
having
some
people asking
things
me,
they
oh, you know, what temperature should it be? And it's just like anything, isn't it? Like some people like a boiling hot bath, some people like a lukewarm bath. You know, like you have to think about like what you know, where does the temperature sit with you? And as you said, be sensible with it. You know what I mean? You wouldn't drink boiling hot tea, would you? You'd wait for it to cool down. Yeah,
water
yeah,
because someone said it's
mm,
meant to help
yeah,
you, and then, you know, burn out your throat, because it, and that's what it is. Sometimes some
mm,
people also think the
no,
hotter the better, but it's not the
no,
hotter the better. It's not, it doesn't make a difference if you only steam it. The
absolutely.
properties are still going to infuse into your body, and
Mm,
if it's hotter, it's not going to make a difference in
mm,
regards to how beneficial it will be for you. So that's another thing, because I know that
mm,
some feel that, you know, when
mm.
they are on the steam, and if
It's
it's
not
not really hot, they
working.
feel that,
Yeah.
oh, it's
Mm,
meant to be really
mm,
hot. You got
mm,
mindful of,
mm,
you know, of how
mm,
you're doing it
mm.
and who you're doing it with, and also, you know, just it's something
Yeah.
that we once was all doing at home, and
Mm,
we our aunties doing with us and stuff. So it's just really
definitely.
bringing traditions back,
Any
isn't it?
questions, Paul?
No, I have to say I haven't done a Yoni steam. I'm so sorry to say, but I
Cornita's
haven't.
a
But
only
you know
steam
what?
virgin, even though we had the business for like how many years,
I know.
Cornita? But yeah.
So I have to say I haven't done it. But I will.
Yeah.
I will definitely
Mm,
try it. For different reasons. So I definitely will do it.
mm, no,
Mm.
definitely. I would definitely recommend. Grief 269 has asked, what age can you start? I'm assuming Yoni steaming from, and she just said she's just curious.
Well, you can, to be honest, you can start
Mm,
from any age. It's herbs, it's natural, it's not going to give you any side effects. There are different herbs, some may be a bit more stronger than others. So if you're starting with a teenager,
mhm,
then I'll say maybe do a gentle steam with really gentle herbs such as lavender, chamomile. Those are really gentle herbs. But yeah, it doesn't, there's no real
no,
age restriction, but I would say definitely from once a child or
mhm,
you know, someone starts their period and starts menstruating, I
yeah,
feel that that's the time to start. And
mm, no,
yeah,
What
definitely.
about
that's what I believe. So that's there isn't no real age restriction, but in in regards to where they do this, that's another thing, because of it is a steam and it's for your womb, and this is looked at as a vaginal steam. Not
Mhm,
every teenager is going to be confident to go to some to do that. So it's either that the parent will go with them, or they should sign a form to give consent as well. And also that Yoni steaming, it doesn't have to always be done with a practitioner. You can actually do it at home, and it always mean that you have to sit over the bowl and steam. You can actually put these herbs, boil them, and put them in the bath and have a Yoni steam bath, and that you will still find the benefits of having a bath with those same Yoni steam herbs as you will do with a steam.
Yeah, definitely. And that was something that I used to recommend as well. Like, you don't have to literally have fancy equipment and stuff. Like, literally you could just put the herbs in the bath before you jump in, and just literally just as you're standing in the bath, just hover over it and let the steam just rise up. But no, I do agree. Yeah, age wise. I mean, would you allow Olivia to steam if she was interested, Corn?
Funny enough, I was thinking it in my head.
Because Olivia's how old?
If it will help with cycles, then yeah. Because like you said, there's no side effects. It's natural. But yeah, if it would help, if I think it's going to help her, then yeah, I would, because you're not introducing them to anything bad. It's something that if it's part of their routine from a young age, then they will continue to do it as when they're getting older into adulthood. So it's not alienated to them. So yeah, I would.
Yeah, and also with Yoni steaming, it's not something that you have to do every week or every month.
That's fine.
Sorry, just a moment. 1 second.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay, just a moment while I just sort this out. Let me just. So you can actually, with Yoni steaming.
That's okay.
Sorry, let me catch my thought. Yeah, so where am I now? Let's come back. So with Yoni steaming, it's not something that you have to do religiously every month or every week. You could have Yoni steamed and notice the benefits for 3-4 months from one steam. And then you'd be like, all of a sudden, after maybe the 4th month, you'd be like, oh, I started to notice some cramping again. And then you realize, oh, I haven't Yoni steamed. So sometimes that can happen. But everyone has different, everyone is different. Everyone has different conditions that they might be using Yoni steam for. So some may have to steam more regularly to begin with, and then they can slowly ease off. And then it's just about maintenance. And maintenance can sometimes look like, 6 to 4 times, or 3 times a year. And so it all varies, and that's dependent if you want it for your reproductive health. But mentally, if you just want to have that time to just really chill and have that relaxed moment and unwind and release any negative energy, then you might do it more regular and just add it into a regular routine. For the younger ones, like say for instance, I've got a 10-year-old daughter, and I made her go in a Yoni steam bath because she's looking at me with my herbs and thinking, I want to be part of that. And I know it's not gonna, and I know it's not gonna cause her any harm, but the properties in the actual herbs, yes, it can help everything with your yoni, but you've got to remember there's so many other beneficial healing properties within these herbs. So it can be helping with their skin condition, it can be helping them with sleeping if you've got like lavender in there, it can be helping to just also pull the toxins and the metals out of our bodies in regards to what we're just collecting on a daily basis through our environment. So there's lots of benefits for it, and there isn't any restriction. You don't be like to your child, don't pick up that flower and smell it, because it might poison you. Well, some can poison you, but not all plants, not all plants can. And majority of them, that are around us, we won't be like, oh, don't touch that. And if, you're not going to worry about them playing with the herbs. And for them to put it in their bath is not a big deal. They're not ingesting it, and so it's really safe to use.
No, I agree. But yeah, I just think I always used to say to women that part of the journey was for them to build that relationship with Mother Nature and with the herbs, and to speak to the herbs, and what is it that you're wanting to do, what is it you're wanting to heal, what are you asking Yeah, basically, like, what are you asking for in terms of prayer and stuff, and to do it in that sense, what are you releasing? There's just,
Yeah.
I just absolutely loved, and like, again, like with what you were saying, Ruth, in regards to like the body wise and how it can pull out toxins, and fantastic for circulation and all, like, so many different things. Like, there's so many different benefits, and I would always go down sort of like, again, the spiritual side. So what does each herb mean? What does it represent? What is it that you're working on? And just bringing it in that way as well. But yeah, definitely, guys. Ruth's put her
Yeah.
not email address, her website address in the
Mm-hmm.
chat. So definitely check it out. And yeah, let's see. Let's see. Is it my turn to ask a question, Paul, or yours?
Yeah.
You.
Yours, I think, yeah.
Is it me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So my question was, in regards to Yoni Steaming, how would women book a session with you?
Okay, so you can either go to the website link on my Instagram profile on Wandula, or my other Instagram page, One Yoni Steam, and you will find the section there on how to book. You can send me an email, you can DM me, and if you want to find out more information as well as how to book, it's also on my website. So I'll
Yeah,
put the Yoni
that's
Steam
good.
page link
That'd
up.
be really good. Your question, Paul?
So,
Yeah.
are there any books you're reading at the moment, or any podcasts that you listen to that you recommend for any listener, whoever's listening, that they can, read, or they can go on to any links or anything like that?
Yeah. So at the moment, I am actually reading J.A. Herbs, which speaks about 40
All of that.
Jamaican herbs from Japan, of course. So yeah, that's from Kukua Aba. And I have read it before, but I'm just going through it again. I think sometimes you always have to come back to things again. And another book that I would recommend, which I have read, is Self-Care for Black Women by Layla Moon. I think I feel it's emotional self-care, by the way, sorry. I feel that it's a book that is made for us, where we've never really find anything that speaks about self-care from a Black perspective. There a lot of what I notice generally is a lot of Black women don't really practice self-care so much. We tend to just get on with things a lot. It's getting better now, but even like sometimes speaking to my elders and saying, "Oh, why don't you go and get a massage?" Or they're looking at me like I'm mad. Who am I going to make someone touch me for? Like, and they don't realize how beneficial this is for their body and for them mentally. And just sometimes when you feel their shoulders, you can feel how tough and tight they are and stressed they are, but they don't know how to release that, apart from like just doing what they usually do. The main self-care that you'll see a Black person practice is going out and enjoying themselves with friends, or going clubbing or something like that. But in regards to nurturing their body and practicing self-care on a daily basis, and just really implementing things like even just essential oils, aromatherapy, stuff like that. And just also as well as putting boundaries. We tend to not have as much boundaries and allow people to step into our space when we don't need them to, and sometimes to the detriment of ourselves. And it's just really something that I really thought was, when I saw it, I was like, I got to read this book. And when I read this book, I then felt that I needed to get it for my sister and my friend. I mean, a book that I feel that it's beneficial for everyone, but coming from that perspective, it really can make you reflect on yourself, and you will connect with a lot of things that is in that book
Could you put
as a
those
Black woman as
prices
well.
in the comments?
So I
Sorry.
feel that is,
Right.
I will.
Just to add as well, everybody, Ruth is an author, like you two call. Yeah, Ruth is an author. Tell us about your book, Ruth.
My book. So my book is My Mummy Breastfeeds. So I made this book because there's not, you don't see no black books around breastfeeding at all. Not only that, it's about if you want to help make changes with breastfeeding, I feel that we need to start with the children, because we normalize it with the children, because they're going to be the future. They're going to grow up. The more they are aware of breastfeeding and seeing it as a normal thing to do, the more easier it is for them to start their breastfeeding journey when they have children, and not see it as something that is, you know, that they're
Or
going to
to
be isolated in, or
sexualize
not
breasts as
knowing
well,
of.
because that's another thing, isn't it? Like, people forget sometimes that they're actually to feed babies.
Exactly. Yeah, they are actually to feed babies.
Yeah.
They have benefits for other things, but they're originally made to feed babies. And if they weren't, we wouldn't be able to do that, would we? So to know that not many women feel confident to breastfeed their babies out in public, or to even breastfeed their babies over a certain period of time. Like, there's many that will just do it for the first couple of weeks or up to 6 months, and think 6 months baby's supposed to be on solid food, breastfeeding is supposed to drop, and anything after that they feel like is, you know, is not heard of or is wrong, or I've heard someone say, you know, that's pedophilia, and I'm like, what? They, you know, because of, they obviously have sexualized breast in their mind, woman, and they feel that to feed their baby up to over 6 months is actually some kind of sexual abuse towards their child, and it should be that way. You know, there was a time when we was all walking around naked with nothing to wear in the jungles, you know, and then we've come to this now where everyone generally standardly would wear clothing. But if you go deep into your ancestors, you're going to see, or you go back deep back into certain parts of the world, they're not really wearing much, and to breastfeed wear is normal. You know, so there has been a lot of politics within breastfeeding that has pushed, because there's a lot of money behind formula in regards to them pushing it out there. So when it comes to breastfeeding, there's only a very small amount of people that are pushing and trying, and there's no funding in it, because if you can't really monetize breast milk, you know, people, all of these people would be out of pocket if everyone decided to breastfeed. But not only that, even down to the NHS will save thousands, millions of pounds, if not billions of pounds, if more people were breastfed. So it's just really like, it's something I'm passionate about, because I realize that so many people can't, or find it difficult to do, and because of our sisters ain't doing it no more, or our aunties ain't doing it no more, we're not able to support each other, family, correctly. And because we know there's alternatives, it's very fast to say, oh, you know, just get a bottle, when actually it's going to take away from the better health for the mother as well as the child. So yeah, that's why I just thought, you know what, I was there, I was just got creative, and I just started to draw pictures, and then I do a breastfeeding book, and that's where it sort of led to. So I did, but
No,
yeah, in
I do
time.
love it. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. And is that available on your website as well? Okay.
Yes, it is. So I do have a shop. Right? If you scroll through there, you'll find in my website.
Excellent,
Right? And it's also
excellent,
on Amazon.
excellent. Love it, love it. But yes, Corn, anything you would like to add? Any questions that you have?
No, I think you covered everything and more.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Good, good, good. But any final words, Ruth, for this evening?
Yeah, I just
You're
want to
welcome.
say thank you for having me. And yeah, it's been a pleasure to be here. And yeah, just follow me. I'll try and update my post on my one-to-one doula and one Yoni Steam. Just keep in contact in regards to, you know, learning about what I'm doing. If you want to jump on the Yoni Steam course, then
I love it. I love it. And I don't know many people that are doing Yoni Steam courses in the UK. I know there's quite a few people in America doing them. But yeah, I think it's amazing that you're actually offering that to people in the UK, although anyone can access it globally, you know, it's just nice to know that there's someone close to home that is actually, putting that course out into the world. So no, thank you. And thank you for your time today. I know it's always during children's bedtimes. I can hear my little one downstairs and like,
Yeah, I get
I know.
before she comes
I know.
running
But
in
no,
here.
thank you for tonight, though, Ruth. Really appreciate. Guys, go and follow Ruth on her pages: One-to-One Doula, One-to-One Yoni Steaming. Website is in the chat, so feel free to have a look. Scroll through Ruth's shop, and yes, thank you again for joining us on the 3 Power Sessions with me and.
Thank
Is it going
you.
blurry? Yeah,
Going
and
blurry.
Cornita. But yeah, thank you for joining us this evening. And yeah, see you in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye.
See you
Take
later.
care. See
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.